Hi, Tim Norris here, or you can call me GreyElephant.
And Carmen, Femme Elephant.
And welcome to episode 5! This is the episode where we talk about games that are going, like, here's the radar, ready? They're going, they're under the Gen Con radar.
So, come Gen Con, they're going to surprise us with how fabulous they are, right?
Let's hope. Now, some of these will be still from some of the bigger publishers, but let's face it, there are like a top amount of games that are just going to be getting all the attention.
Yeah.
But we tried to focus as much as we could, even on smaller publishers as well, when we created this list. So, before we get into that, though, we got a piece of mail.
It's mail time!
That makes me so think of Blue's Clues. We used to watch a ton of Blues.
Blues.
Remember the song that used to go?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Here's the mail, it never fails, it makes me wanna wag my tail. When it comes, I wanna wail. Mail! So we thought that we'd open it with you guys. Now I went ahead and broke the tape just to make sure that I could get through that. And but we don't know what's inside this yet. And we want to thank Stephen Benton for sending this to us. He just did it out of the goodness of his heart. And so let's see what's in here.
Surprise!
Oh, I know what this is. Oh, thank you very much. It's Japier, I think is how you pronounce it. The Camel Game. If you ever saw Bored with Life skit on this, it is hilarious. Great game. But this is a specifically designed two-player game, and I've seen it and I've been wanting it, and I just always forget to put it in my cart when I'm at Cool Stuff or whatever ordering games. But I've always wanted to play this, and I think this would be fantastic for us because, like I said, it is specifically designed for two players. So. Thank you, Stephen. I really appreciate that.
Cool, thanks.
Next thing. Okay. Games that you guys are most excited for Gen Con.
Yes.
Okay, we've got your list. And I thought, one thing I hate is I printed this all off on orange paper. I will never do this again. Orange paper is very distracting and hard to look at. I don't like orange paper.
I had it in the printer.
No,
so
it was my own fault. I did that.
But we are not going to get into all of previous shows. This time we're just going to focus on games we want from Gen Con.
I got one comment from one person that I had to plug in. Yes.
One very special comment, and the rest is games we want at Gen Con.
So games you guys want at Gen Con. Stacy Winters says she is most excited for Smash Up Monster Smash, the expansion, Among the Stars, Shadowrun Crossfire, Hyperborea. I always want to say hyperbole or
Hyperbole.
Yeah.
Hyperborea.
Hyperborea. Firefly Blue Sun expansion. Sentinels Tactics: The Flames of Freedom. Conan Hyborian Quests. Level 7 Invasion. Yeah. Wow, hyper.
Hyborian. Okay.
Dead of Winter. Star Trek Fleet Captains Dominion expansion. I swear to you, I can read a lot better than this. Anyways.
All right. The Discriminating Gamer says. Level 7 Invasion Now, as well as Legendary Encounters.
Yeah, very excited about the Legendary. The Dragon Scholar, Pathfinder Adventure Card Game, Colt, Skull and Shackles, Samurai Spirits, Consequential, Shadows of Brimstone.
Okay, Jason Joy says Shadowrun, Crossfire, Warhammer 40k,
Conquest,
and Skulls and Shackles again.
Yeah. And we got... this one here, CR Flames fan says that I don't have any anticipated games, but I am looking forward to a video from GreyElephant Gaming talking about the games they found at Gen Con, and maybe even some playthroughs of some of them they really enjoyed. Aww, thank you. We appreciate it. And we will be filming a lot.
CR Flames fan.
What'd you say?
I said, way to kiss up there.
Oh. We really appreciate it, though.
We'll be sure to play through a game that you enjoy.
And we're going to be filming an awful lot, so we'll have plenty of stuff for you guys to click through.
Ray Slover says Sheriff of Nottingham and Legendary Aliens, which I'm sure he means encounters.
Yep. Rickert566, Doomtown, and also Doomtown. Was that Doomtown?
Or is it Doomtown?
No, I think it's Doomtown, and also Doomtown.
Uh-huh. Okay, Pete Shirley is looking forward to Alien Uprising.
I wonder if that made our list.
Doomtown Reloaded.
There's another one.
Zombie 15, Warhammer Conquest, Dead of Winter, and Sheriff of Nottingham.
Brock Orman, Skull and Shackles.
And Randall Adkins says Sheriff of Nottingham, Black Fleet, Cash and Guns.
Which is so fun. Cash and Guns is fun, man. We played it last night and had a blast.
Abyss, Kings of Israel, if it comes out by then, And the Guardians of the Galaxy expansion for Marvel Legendary.
Yeah, let's hope we get a sneak peek at that. Won't that be fun? Stasia Duster says Consequential, the Witcher game, Castles of Mad King Ludwig, which I think that actually comes out in Essen. But I'm going to make sure. I've already talked with Beezer Games. I don't know how to say their name. And we will be doing a demo of this at Gen Con, though. Then the Battle at Kimberly's Cascade and Tragedy Looper. Ooh, I like those. Now, Robin Lee, a little Johnny-come-lately, says that most hated games, that normally for him, it's not the game's fault, but the people he plays with. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that could possibly apply to a couple of games, but let's face it, some games are just awful.
For us, for sure, yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. We've got our list here of the games that we feel like are flying under the radar or just basically being outshined by other games. And oddly enough, maybe not so much after reading what you guys are most excited for. But without further ado, let's get to it, right?
All right.
Number 1, Run, Fight, or Die by 8 Summit Gray Fox Games.
This looks like a lighter zombie game. And what's interesting is that you have your own individual board with your own individual zombies that you are fighting off. So,
I want my own individual zombie.
Own individual zombies.
Yeah, I keep them on a chain in the backyard.
So it's possible to play it one player, from what I understand, and it looks kind of like a lighter game. Maybe the kids will be able to play it. One thing I noticed about zombie games is that sometimes the scenarios, the success of the scenario doesn't make sense to me. Like, you know, 1 or 2 survivors could throw all their friends under the bus and run out with the supplies, and you're successful. It
doesn't make sense. It should be you all make it or you don't, right?
Right. So anyway, this makes a little more sense because every survivor provides you with victory points. So I think that's good. I'm
a huge fan of throwing things under the bus, though. and not just in games, just in general. I like throwing things under the bus.
Okay, so it's like, eat her first.
No, it doesn't even have to be zombies. I mean, literally, I like throwing things under buses.
Like water bottles.
Just anything. All right, number 2 on the list is Heroes Wanted by Action Phase Games. Wow, okay, we did a video. Okay, caveat. We are a little bit biased, aren't we, on this, possibly? Just a tad?
If you play Heroes Wanted, make sure you get the Pink Yeti. It's the best character in the whole game.
It might actually be. But there's also this GreyElephant dude that's really awesome, too. But we are cards in the game, okay? But we fell in love with this game when we did a video for it when it was back on Kickstarter. Had a blast playing it with the designer. Had a blast just her and I playing it ourselves. The game is just simply fun. They're looking to have upwards of 400 copies available at Gen Con. And this was cutting it close, too, because supposedly this was one of those ones where it's being held up at customs. But I did talk with the one of the owners of the company, Travis, and he said for sure they will have copies. I highly recommend you guys stop by there, Action Phase Games, Heroes Wanted, and try this game out. You won't be disappointed.
I like it because it's unique. We don't play a lot of games like this.
No.
You don't have very many cards in your hand, so there's not a lot of text you have to read or remember.
No, it's just all about management.
It's hand management, but you're running around the board, smacking on each other and smacking on the bad guys, so it's pretty cool.
I like smacking things around, too. Throwing things under the bus and smacking things around. I mean, this is like a few of my favorite
There's
things.
a lot of player interaction in this one. I mean, it's a lot different than many of the... We like to play a lot of Euro games, you know. So
and this is somewhat of this does have a feel of some Euro, but more Ameritrashy, I think, than anything.
Because you're going for points, I think, and you have to form a strategy to get those points.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a lot of player interaction. So
I love it.
Pretty cool combo there.
I like the game an awful lot. All right, next one on the list, number 3, is Hoplomachus by Chip Theory Games. Rise of Rome. It's Hoplomachus Rise of Rome by Chip Theory Games.
It's an expansion, but also it stands alone. So you can use it for both.
And this is a arena, you're gladiators, and what I like about this game, what I think's neat, is I like the chips. I love the health chips that go underneath your characters. But there's excuse me, I had a hiccup there. Or a burp, actually. It was a burp. It came up. It was not my fault. So anyways,
he usually gets those out before the camera starts rolling.
but anyways, so you got the chips underneath, and each character has different abilities, or it can like pick each other up or throw you, or just basically clobber you or shoot you with arrows. But anyways, then there's creatures in the game, there's animals in the game, plus the gladiators. We've done a video on Hoplomachus, and this is just added to it, and it's even brought to the table Titans, which are these super uber powerful beasts, that you got to try to take down.
The Titans have some pretty cool, unique traits that we didn't see in the previous game, so that's pretty exciting. And then also they have training grounds, which is a good way to practice.
Yeah, that's like a smaller set. Now they're supposed to have around 100 copies, I think, of the base set and also the expansion at Gen Con. And I believe that they will not be in the dealer hall; they'll be in Hall C. So you have to check them out over there. All right, next one on the list is Roar! And this is by Ape Games. So what impressed you about Roar?
Well, I like the fact that it looks like it's a good introduction to drafting. Maybe someone who hasn't played a more complicated drafting game, because you actually draft monster power cards in order to build a perfect monster, and then you use that monster to go and smash up cities.
And then don't you actually like bid on the cities when you're fighting over them, I believe?
You do. You compete over the cities. Whoever does most damage wins. And you're drafting power bid cards to fuel your monster as well after your monster's built.
Yeah, and I just like monster smashing games. To me, I mean, it's just that already will get my attention. But yeah, I just think given the fact that
if you want to see a video on it, Crits Happen has a video on this one. And it looks like one of the characters is like Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls.
Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo.
I think I might talk like Mojo Jojo for the rest of the video. Just, next on our list would be Epic Resort by Floodgate Games.
That resort is epic.
It is epic. I love this resort. But yes, Epic Resort by Floodgate Games. Now, a somewhat sad story on Epic Resort is that he will not have any copies for sale. Because he would have had to ship them in by air, and it would have been just not. It has just been too expensive. So, anyways, but you still can stop by and pre-order from him at his booth, and I highly recommend you check this game out and at least play it because Epic Resorts is a awesome take.
That's what's cool about Gen Con is you get to demo.
Oh yeah, you just get to demo
games. Yeah.
But with this one, I mean, it takes a neat approach to deck building, okay? We know deck building, that's fine. But what I like is you're trying to build your own amusement park, and you're trying to invite these visitors in, but at the same time, you got monsters that are trying to eat these visitors, or these heroes and guests, but then they're being eaten, so then you have to use your heroes to try to fight off the monsters, but then at the same time, you don't want too many visitors to your attractions, but you don't want...
Because that attracts the monsters.
Because it attracts the monsters.
Yeah. Speaking of deck building, you are drafting attractions, and you're also drafting workers. The workers are what ends up in your hand. And what I like about the game, it actually took me a while to get used to this idea, is that you don't want the heroes necessarily to fight the monsters.
No, sometimes just let them eat the people.
They are there to be on vacation, and if the heroes get enough rest, that's what actually gets you victory points.
Yeah. And it's a great game. I highly recommend you go check it out and try it. And give Ben a high five when you see it.
And we did a Kickstarter preview on this one if you want to check that out.
Next one on the list is ABA Games. H-A-B-A Games. Now, not any one game in particular. I just want to give a shout out to ABA Games because they have got a lot of really cool games that they make in that company. A few of them that I noticed that were listed on the Gen Con list that they had posted up over on Gen Con is Plucky Pirate, or Pilots, Plucky Pirate. Why can't I say Pilots?
It's because we have the pirate game from them, so that's what's in your head.
I think that's what's in my head.
Yeah.
Plucky Pilots. I thought the Unicorns in the Clouds, and of course one of their uber popular is Animal Upon Animal, which I'm going to have to stop by and try to grab a copy of that. I mean, come on. But I actually, funny enough, was at Goodwill one day and came across some of their titles, and I picked them up. I didn't even know anything about ABBA at the time. I just thought they looked cute. And one of them was the pirate game. I think it's...
Pirates Blast?
Pirates Blast, I think, is what we got. It's right over here. I don't know why I just didn't pull it out. But it's cute because you got these little suction thingies, and you push them.
You know those things you put in a baby's nose to suck
out
boogers?
That's awesome.
They give them to you at the hospital?
The snot suckers. I didn't want to say snot suckers.
Somebody made a game based on using these to blow pirate ships around.
The snot suckers. They are the snot suckers,
Yeah.
but you can blow your little ship back and forth, and you're trying to get treasure and then bring it back, but then you're also shooting a little cannon at your opponent's ship. So it's a great game. But yeah, stop by their booth. Just check out their game, especially if you got kids. I mean, I just think, man, it's just so cool seeing them at Gen Con. So, all right, number 7 on the list is
Zombie 15.
Yeah, by Yellow Games. And the only reason I put this one on the list is because I think that everybody's focused so heavily on King of New York that we got to remember Yellow does have a lot of other cool games that they're coming out with, and I think this is one of them. I'm not a huge zombie fan game. I'm really not, even though we've got 2 of them on here.
Yeah.
But what I like about this one is that it's a take on Escape Curse of the Temple, where you got, like, you know, in that one 10 minutes, but in this one you get 15 minutes to complete your agenda.
That's where the 15 comes from.
Well, I think it's also because it's all teenagers too. You know what in the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're all supposed to be 15 years old or if it's supposed to be 15 time limit. I haven't figured that out.
The adults are all zombies, from what I understand when I read the description of the game.
Yeah, I think technology turned us all so, right?
I think the kids use technology more than we do.
Yeah. But it looks really fun. The only thing I worry about this one with her is she gets stressed out enough over Escape, Curse of the Temple.
And drop dice
and she'll drop dice.
Every curse I get sticks because I'm fumbling around. Oh my god, I gotta roll these dice.
But what's neat about this one is that you're not all rolling dice at the same time. One person has their turn and they're rolling the dice trying to do whatever they need to do, then they pass everything to the next player.
Oh, that's even more pressure.
Yeah. Come on, you're gonna make us all die!
Exactly. I'll still try it.
Yeah, I think this one ranks pretty high on my list of games I will definitely be
doing. Is there a soundtrack?
There is a soundtrack,
okay.
And there'll be certain noises that are gonna that's my zombie. That's my before coffee noise and my zombie noise, and they're very similar.
Okay.
Anyways, whenever that comes, then you pull zombies and you put them on the board. And then you could kill them, and then they go back like in the graveyard, but then they could come back out. Because, let's face it, they're the undead.
Right.
The undead should not be allowed to be dead. Like The Walking Dead, just doesn't make sense. They're the undead. Not to mention, how come Winter didn't kill them all off? I don't get this stuff. Alright, next game. Alright, I get sidetracked.
They don't need body heat. They're dead.
Their brain should still...
You
would think, wouldn't you? Alright. See, you was even on that same... You couldn't figure it out either.
They already don't have brains, right?
Yes, they do, because if you stab them through the brain, then that's how you kill them. It doesn't make sense.
Zombies are just...
They're the dumbest creature ever.
It's not consistent.
They're not consistent. Alright, number 8 on the list is Alien Uprising by Mr. B Games. Now, I think this one looks really, really, really cool.
I am excited about this one because it is from the creator of Defenders of the Realm.
Yes, and we love Defenders of the Realm. Yeah. And it's another co-op where you're all trying to basically, you crash. Did you crash on the planet?
Yeah, you crash landed on the planet.
And of course, there's hostile aliens. I mean, why can't we meet friendly ET-like creatures? I mean,
why can't there be aliens that are like, hey, did you crash land? Let us help you.
There's never of the Nabeen from, like, what was that show with the big giant blue people? And, well, they were kind of hostile too, weren't they?
I don't remember this stuff.
I never remember this stuff either, but I just remember they were giant and blue and sexy.
Oh, okay.
You don't remember the giant blue sexy people from that movie? What was that movie called, people? It was the giant...
Avatar?
Yeah!
Oh.
Giant blue sexy people everywhere! What are you talking... That was the only...
Sexy people?
That was the only time I saw a movie where I was like, that's a heck of a... Captain Kirk would have been in heaven on that planet.
Best movie ever. Okay. Well, anyway, in Alien Uprising, you have to hold off attacks while retrieving parts for your ship and repairing it. And I guess you can either repair your ship and escape, or you can wait for a rescue team to come get you.
Yeah, and the whole time you're being hounded by aliens that are just going to keep coming at you. And there's different types, and like bossy-like ones, and then the smaller, like scout ones. But you're going to have to fight them off at the same time, get your ship repaired, or try to, wait for help, and get the heck off the planet. But it looks like a lot of fun, and it's one that I've already talked with the owner of the company. I'm going to stop by the booth, and we're going to film this one just to see just how cool it is. But it's definitely way up there on my list, and easily one that I think can be overlooked given the flood of cool games that we got coming out. Even though one of you guys did say you were looking forward to it, which that is cool. I like that. All right, Next one on the list is Evolution by North Star Games. Another one we did a Kickstarter preview on.
Yeah, this is a really cool card game. It doesn't really feel like a card game.
No, not at all. I like it because you're constantly evolving your species. You can only have 3 cards per species, and you keep trying to evolve them in different ways to not only survive, but possibly even try to eat your opponents.
My favorite was the turtle-shelled tree-climbing carnivore.
Who made that?
Was it you?
It was me!
Did you eat me?
I was ripping your... So what you can do, you can evolve your creatures and try to, like if you're an herbivore, you want to try to come up with like camouflage. You want to try to be able to be a tree climber.
Symbiosis.
Something that's going to help carnivores, stay away, right? To get you away from them. So as carnivores, you're trying to constantly evolve to try to, become a pack hunter to increase your attack power. To be, you could be a tree climber as a carnivore.
Yeah, better eyesight.
Better eyesight to see the camouflaged ones. And what made this game funny for us was that as Carmen was playing, she had these tree climbers and was so confident she was safe. And I switched out my carnivores to tree climbers too and ripped them bad boys right out of that tree. Ate them up.
But what's pretty cool is that you can have as many species as you want.
Yeah, but it's hard to manage too many species is the
right.
problem.
And then whoever eats the most food wins. That's how you win the game.
It is so fun. So that's why you want to eat your opponents. You want to take, their food,
exactly.
But that game's a lot of fun. I highly recommend you stop by North Star and check out Evolution. It is a fun game. Number 10 on the list is, well, we actually got a couple, so we're just going to combine them a little bit. 2 games from Game Salute. Number 1 would be King's Forge, which that's one we've loved, and I believe they're going to have some copies of it at Gen Con. Highly recommend you check King's Forge out. We played this game way back before it ever even came out on Kickstarter.
Right.
And kind of like play tested a little bit, but not really. But we loved it even then before it's in its finalized form.
Mm-hmm.
But the game is about crafting, you're rolling dice trying to craft weapons before your opponents. Whoever crafts the most weapons the fastest basically wins the game. But I highly recommend you stop by and try the game out.
And, I'm not usually a big fan of dice rolling games, but I really enjoy this
Because there's so many different ways to manipulate the dice. That's
right.
why. So you're never usually stuck. In a lot of dice games you can feel stuck.
It doesn't feel as much like a dice rolling game as it does more like a card game. I don't know.
I know what you're saying. But you can gain more dice, which are basically materials, and then use those materials to craft the weapons. A lot of fun. I like it a lot.
And then Princess of the Dragon Throne,
which
is finally available.
Yes!
I'm so excited.
Yes! Very excited about this game. And once again, a little caveat. We did play test this game back a long time ago and fell in love with it immediately. But it will be available at Gen Con. And the gist of it is that, you're one of the dragon princes vying for the throne, and it's a deck-building area control game. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be using your cards to try to place your, what is it, their armies, I guess you could say, around the board. And you're trying
you have dragons and citizens.
Citizens! I was trying to think citizens. I couldn't think of citizens
and
for some reason. But you're trying to place them around, and then they're going to give you extra actions depending on which guild you place them in. And what you're really aiming for, though, is to get your Dragon Lords placed into the console and gain majority. You gain majority at the end of the game, you're basically going to win because it's all about scoring, really.
Yeah. There's really a lot going on, though. You've got guild favors, clan favors. You've got sheep, gold, and influence, which is resources that you have to manage throughout the game.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the combination of everything that goes into playing this.
Yeah. I like Princess of the Dragon Throne. I love this game. I'll be honest with you guys. And I highly recommend, if you get a chance, try it out at Gen Con. I really do recommend it. So, last one on the list is one that I threw on here because it's called Bit Crawl. Now, you don't know anything about this one because...
I didn't research this one.
No, I actually threw it on at the last minute. I was waiting to see if they got their little listing up on Board Game Geek, and they finally did. Now, I tried Bit Crawl. This is by LM Studios, and they will have a booth at Gen Con. They've got Bit Crawl, which is the smaller version of the larger game that they're going to be putting on Kickstarter, which is like super extreme, fabulous, monstrous, Bit Crawl amazing blah blah blah.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
It's the longest name of a game I have ever in my life experienced. I can't ever even say it. But anyways, it's a smaller version of that. Basically, it's dungeon diving, and you're trying to gain as much gold as you can, fighting off monsters, blah blah blah. But stop by their booth, and you'll get a better understanding
I like
of
gold.
it. I do too.
Yeah.
I like grapes too.
And monsters. I like to fight monsters.
I don't know if I like monsters as much as I like.
I like fighting.
No. So, anyways, that is our entire list. That is everything. So we have, 11, 12 technically games on there. And I highly recommend you check them out. All right, so, anyways, we need to get to our questions. That is the last thing, isn't it? Ding, 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 ding.
That's the last thing?
Else? Yeah, we flew through this.
Random rambling!
Actually, we are not going to pull from here this
we're
time.
not.
No, we actually had questions asked to us, and I thought we would answer this.
questions sent in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the very first question that we have is a question from Robin Lee. And he says that because based upon our games that we fell out of love with, okay? So we had a list of games we fell out of love with, which was episode 2, if you remember correctly. He wants to know if you could save any one of those games, which one would it have been? Do you remember or recall our list?
Wasn't X-Wing one of them?
X-Wing was one of them.
That would probably be it.
I need a moment.
But I mentioned Castle Ravenloft, but I don't know.
I forgot X-Wing until you mentioned it. Now I'm going to cry on camera. It would be X-Wing. I would have kept it.
If Castle Ravenloft was on the list, I don't know if it was, but I would want that back.
Yeah, that was it.
That would be the one.
Yeah, it was X-Wing for me.
But X-Wing, I guess.
No, don't pick X-Wing just because I picked it. You know what? Now you're just. I feel like you're kind of like I pity you. I don't need your pity.
You play my favorite games. I should be able to play your favorite games sometime.
You drove it out of this house.
I think we really just needed the money at the time. That's what it was.
Alright, so the next question we had, I believe this one came from Stacy Winters. I forgot to tag the name to it. Wants to know where the name GreyElephant came from. So this is an interesting story, and it's one that's going to sound a lot worse than what it is. Let me explain the whole thing. Back when my nieces and nephews were a lot younger, and before we had children of our own, we call this BC, before children. We used to have them come over like every weekend, and my brother had 3 kids, ended up having a 4th eventually from another marriage, and then my sister had 2 of her own. So, 6 children coming over on the weekends.
It seemed like we had them over more often than we didn't.
Yeah, and when they would come, we used to just play all night. I mean, we, hide and seek. We'd be playing guns. We'd be down at the park playing, games we made up with called Captain Nemo or Squid or tag, just general things like that. And we'd play football a lot, things like And it was inevitable that I would probably run over one of them kids at least once every visit. And it's not intentional that I would run these children over. Okay.
Nerf guns.
Yeah, but I did break my toe in the process.
That's where the most injuries occurred. Yeah. Playing Nerf guns.
I did break one of my toes though in the process of this. Though, it was my big toe, which I've broken both my big toes. Just the more you know. Anyways, inevitably I would run one of them over because we'd be playing. They would be running one way, I'd be running the other way, and bam, and it's the whole mass thing. What is that? Equal mass. I'd bull them over. And they would get hurt. They would always get hurt. So the game became, one of them just rattled it off and said, oh no, watch out, here comes the big gray elephant. And that became the thing, that I would be like, chasing them around, and then they would run away screaming, here comes the gray elephant. Because I would trample them, is what they would say. And I know it sounds awful, but it's really not as bad as what it sounds, I swear.
So how did that come to be the name for GreyElephant Gaming? Did you use it as forum names for a while?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I started, I believe I started it back on the Tactics. Was I GreyElephant on there, or was I don't remember, but it just became, it just became...
You were. I think you were on the Tactics forum.
Yeah, and then I carried it over, I believe, to the HeroScape forums, to the Board Game Geek forums, and I just would call myself GreyElephant, it just became my nickname, and so it just only made sense, GreyElephant Gaming, There you go. That's how it happened. You know, and as awful as it sounds, they had a lot more fun than the violence that it sounds like.
They were just talking on Facebook today that they want to come back, and
even as adults, like I mean, they're one of them's in the Marines, living in California, and he still wants to come back and play tag with me. I mean, here I am, 39 years old, and I still have the neighborhood kids come to our door, and they want Do they ask for my son? No. Do they ask for my daughter? No. They want to know if I'll come out and play tag with them.
Tim come out. Is Tim here?
Yeah.
Tim come out and play.
It's just who I am, guys. So anyways, that's it for today's episode. And
that's it.
We're not going to have one for next week, guys.
We will see you at Gen Con.
Yeah, but look forward to us producing a ton of videos, guys. In fact, I even ordered an extra battery for our camera just to make sure that if I run out of battery, I'll have a backup. So I've got an extra memory card and an extra battery when I go to Gen Con, just to make sure I can continuously film things. The only thing we're going to be restricted on is just time. I mean, running out of time, but I'm going to try to even set things up.
I think uploading is going to be the biggest problem. It takes a while to get a video on there.
I'm going to even talk with publishers to see if, even after the dealer hall closes, if they want to meet with me, even in some of the other places, and still let me demo some of their games and film them. So, all these ones you guys have on this list, I'd imagine, I mean, for the most part, I plan on demoing every single one of these for the most part, when we go to Gen Con.
Yeah, there was a lot of games that I recognized on those lists. So.
Yeah, so anyways, we won't see you guys next week, except for just in our normal videos, but the week after that, we will do another episode, and it'll be episode 6, and haven't really come up with a title yet for that one, but we will definitely let you guys know. And as usual, we appreciate you watching.
Bye-bye.
Griffin Gaming, from new releases to pre-orders. Griffin Gaming. Enter in promo code GreyElephant for 5% off your order.